we were out in the tules. We were out in the rice paddies, and these little barrios, there are no cars there. It's all caribou carts. That the only way you get around are walking. So you felt quite safe that you weren't near the roads where the Japanese were. And maybe we shouldn't have felt that way, but the Filipinos assured us that we'd have plenty of warning if anything was coming that way. So with Filipino guides, we had been driven by trucks about 40 miles closer to where we took off from. And then with these guides, we crossed the Japanese-held highways, 2 of them. But, and we had to wait for Japanese traffic a couple of times, but we made it. And then we walked most of the night, about 25 miles, through 2 or 3 small Filipino villages. But in rural country, there were no roads there. We were planning to attack that night. That was our instructions from 6th Army. But our Filipino allies told us that there was a full regiment of Japanese encamped at the prison camp, and it would be very suicidal to attack them, in which case not only would we be in big trouble, but they would kill all the prisoners. So Mussi decided to wait a day, and during that day it was good because it allowed the Alamo Scouts to do some reconnaissance and get the layout of the prison camp. And while we rested up and got ready for the next night when we would attack the prison camp. The Alamo Scouts came back and gave us a layout of the, and they'd had a lot of information from local Filipinos too as to the layout of the prison camp. And we devised our plan of attack from that information. Well, I wasn't aware at the time, but one of the Filipino guerrilla captains, Pahota, had recommended to Colonel Mussi that he get an Air Force plane in there as a diversion, which was a wonderful idea. Mussi had radioed 6th Army, and they'd sent this P-61 night fighter, they called them, and they were fairly new. There weren't too many of them. But the 2 pilots in that plane were absolutely superb. They would fly as low as 200 or 300 feet over this camp and cut their motors like they were in trouble. And the prisoners told us later that everybody in that camp, whether it was Japanese soldier or American POW, had their eyes fixed on this plane all the while we were crawling across this open field. And that went on for about a half an hour, so you can see how valuable that was to our success.